Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Beyond the South Stand with me, Jez Davies. As you can see on the screen, we have a very last minute substitution, and the Irish Flying Canary, Mr. Cillian O'Grady, has joined us. Hi Cillian, how are you?
Good, Jez. I'm delighted to be here with you. Glad I brought my boots along, to jump in at the last minute.
Well, I did, just before we came on air, actually, I did liken you to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the super sub. So you got to live up to that name now. So yeah, thanks. Cillian, actually, just before we get going, did you just want to talk about your new project that you've got coming up in the next few weeks?
Yeah, obviously I've been doing the O'Grady away days for a while, and got a bit lonely doing it on my own. So I've got a new co-host that some of you can listen into. We did a podcast with Jez and Morgan a while ago, Nick Lyle, Driving Canary, who's from Northamptonshire and goes religiously home and away to all matches, and we meet up at the game. So we're launching On the Road City for the Blackburn game. So that'll be the first one with a couple of Blackburn fans. So we learn all about the things to do and not do visiting lovely Blackburn.
And what's this I hear about a potential Christmas number one that might be?
We've decided, because both myself and Nick are hugely musical, we're going to launch a rock album for Christmas, and we've got a song for every away team we play between now and so for all the travelling fans, they'll be able to listen to a nice rock tune on the way to the game. So looking forward to releasing that next week when we do the Blackburn game.
No, that's brilliant. I'll be having that on repeat. I'll just literally repeat the song when I'm travelling to these games. So that's superb. This feels like quite a good time to bring in our guest this evening, who's Nick from the Half and Half Scarf Football Podcast. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming down to Carrow Road on Saturday as a Boro fan, and obviously I think I'm going to be giving away some trade secrets to you guys tonight in terms of what to look out for. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see what goes on. But I'm interested in your rock album, Cillian. I might be giving that a listen myself.
There you go. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not playing Boro away before Christmas, so there won't be a Boro song. But I'll make sure when we do go to Boro that we'll have one for you.
Fantastic.
Nick, maybe you can play that on your pod before the Boro game.
Nick, if you just like to sort of perhaps introduce yourself a little bit more and talk to us a little bit about what the Half and Half Scarf Football Podcast is all about, please.
Okay. Well, I'm a long-standing Boro fan with my son, who's now 28. He's been going with me since he was about 7. He started off as a Liverpool fan, but I bought him a half-season ticket and a Boro shirt one Christmas and forced him to come to the Riverside in winter. And eventually he fell in love with Middlesbrough and left Liverpool behind. So, and we used to sit opposite the aisle, the gangway, with a guy called Dom Hanrahan, and he just had a daughter who was just sort of a young lass enjoying football. We got chatting a few times and turned out after 10 years to be really good football mates. And he lives in the Wirral. He's a season ticket holder at the Riverside, but a season ticket holder at Everton as well. So he's a very, very unique kind of approach. And we've travelled around home and away. We've been to Dortmund 5 or 6 times. Once a season, we go over there to watch a big Borussia Dortmund sort of Bundesliga game. And we've even been to, accidentally actually, we went to Budapest and had a long week there in Budapest. And he went with his wife to watch a game for the sum total of £6.22 for a ticket. So we're both football lads. We just chat about stuff we think is interesting to football fans. And we're 8 episodes deep and 6 have been published, and we're getting a bit of an early following, and let's see what happens.
No, fantastic. Well done. I mean, it's interesting actually. You mentioned the Dortmund journey that you've done a few times. That's something I've done. I think it's 3 or 4 times out there. I actually had one booked in, and then COVID hit, and I had to get a refund from Ryanair, which I actually only got about 3 months ago. So thanks, Cillian and Ryanair. But no, it's great. It's such a good football experience. I mean, perhaps just talk to us a little bit about why Dortmund's such a special place to go and watch football.
Well, the first time we went, I won a prize on TalkSport, which was a week-long phoning competition. I didn't know it was a week-long phoning competition when I started. I answered the question on the Monday, and I thought I'd won the prize. And then they said, "Oh, we'll see you tomorrow again." And I was like, "It was one of those where you have to answer the question if you keep it right, you keep staying on, and all that kind of thing." They're asking me all sorts of questions about European football. It was all sponsored by Eurostar, so it was basically leading me on a tour of Europe. And I knew there's a question coming up about Dutch football because they'd asked about Belgium and France and whatever. I didn't know anything about Dutch football, so I said to my son, "What the hell are you going to ask me?" And so he said to me, it was all about Premier League football. He said Dirk Kuyt scored a hat-trick on his last game for PSV. And the question came up the next day, which ex-Liverpool star scored that? It's like, wow. And then I won it on the Friday and we won a full package. So we now, me and my son go every year, and me and Dom and my son go. Dom's been 4 times, and this will be our 8th time this season for me and Rob. So yeah, really good.
That's amazing.
It's a great week.
You've been to, I was going to say, yeah, it's really good, isn't it? I mean, I was going to sort of follow up and say, has Cillian been to? Have you been to any games?
No, I haven't, but I hear so much about it. It's obviously a place I'd love to go to. Get a game in there, like a bit of fun.
And they play in yellow, so even better.
Can't be terribly wrong there. So
no, too right. So perhaps sort of jumping into some of the questions that we'd set you. I mean, Rob Edwards is a manager that I know quite well, obviously with the fact that I do have followed Luton previously. It came to no surprise to me that he was going to get back into football, and he has found himself at Middlesbrough. I mean, what was your reaction, and how are the fans taken to him?
I think it's fair to say when it was announced, there was a lot of rumours. Was it going to be Cooper? Was it going to be Edwards or whatever? And it felt always that it was going to be Edwards because of an internal relationship with our kind of head of football, Scott. So when he was appointed, it felt like a bit jobs for the boys. A lot of fans were a bit kind of, is that it lacked a bit of ambition? And my view was, okay, it wasn't Steve Cooper, but it also wasn't Steven Gerrard or Wayne Rooney. So I'll give him the benefit of that particular doubt at the time. We haven't played well in pre-season, and we've played okay. We've had some, we drew 2-2 at Rangers and that kind of thing, but we didn't win a game in pre-season. It was really important that he got off to a good start, because there's always keyboard warriors, isn't there, on social media, waiting for an excuse to go, well, we didn't want him, he's rubbish, he's a loser, all that kind of thing. We've been nothing short of exceptional, except for the Carabao Cup in the middle of the 2 league games. But we've won 2 games out of 2. We've got 2 clean sheets, which we used to leak goals for fun. We scored 4 goals, including a great win away at Millwall. And he's a PR absolute dream, isn't he? The guy's a smiley, happy, enthusiastic guy, and I think he's winning people over. He certainly won me over, and long may it continue. The football's different. We'll talk about that a bit later, I'm sure, but he's just a really good guy who looks like he's enjoying life, and he says all the right things. He's obviously well schooled, but he's a pleasure to watch in action, and he's actually a pleasure to watch doing his job, which is coaching a team, and coaching the team so far to a 2 out of 2 winning record.
No, it's brilliant. I think for me, as I said at the start, he's charismatic. You're completely right. He's charismatic. I think he went through a very difficult spell with Tom Lockyer at Luton. Don't know if you remember. So Tom Lockyer collapsed in the playoff final against Coventry, and he was, understandably very upset and worried about his captain. And I just think, given how difficult that situation was, I think he handled it superbly, really, really well. And again, when it happened, I think it was Bournemouth away in the Premier League season, and it just shows the measure of the man. I don't think every manager would have reacted the same way as he did. I think you're right. He's such a charismatic bloke, and he's always been a thorn in Norwich's side. Cillian, you'll remember from the times that he was at Luton, and some of the games we played against him, we didn't beat him. And what do you think, Cillian, about what's coming up on Saturday?
Yeah, that sounds like you're putting a bit of a curse on him, or a curse on it.
Yeah.
Bigging up Boro. I mean, there's some cracking games between us, and a couple of incidents, I'd say, in the last couple of games. The last season, 3-3 draw. I'm sure that broke a few Boro hearts at the end there. And obviously, we had a bit of an incident with Borja Sainz and Johnny Howson up in the Riverside. I don't know if it was the last match of the previous season, but it does. You mentioned, the playoff final there. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't mention the playoff final of 2015, Nick.
Okay.
Being honest about it, like, do Boro fans still have nightmares every time there's a Cameron Jerome or a Nathan Redmond highlight shown?
Well, put it this way, you rarely see a Cameron Jerome or Nathan Redmond highlight show anywhere, let's face it. So I'll be honest with you, it seems a long time ago. Genuinely, it seems a long time ago now. It does seem like another lifetime. And I have more nightmares about buses that arrive late, because that definitely scuppered our preparation that day. I don't know if you know the story. The backstory is Norwich fans. Apparently there was traffic around Wembley. Who knew?
Yeah, possibly.
Who knew? Who knew there's traffic around Wembley? So we were late for that. My flashback for the Wembley final is Danny Ayala, really, who had been sensational all season, and he just literally fell over at the near post, didn't he? And Jerome was like, "Oh, okay, I'll have that. Thank you very much." And also Yella Vossen smashing the bar from 25 yards. Yeah, and it's all fine margins. But I'll be honest with you, I'm happy with the fact that since 2020 you've not taken you're not beaten us at all. So you can live in the past on 2015. I live in the present. The last 5 years you're not beaten Boro once, home or away, including a couple of including a thrashing, by the way, at the Riverside, and including last year.
That was
last season.
Yeah, it was a horrible night there that night. I sat there in that. I think it was a very wet night, Friday night.
It was, yeah.
Friday was there's nothing worse.
It was Middlesbrough, Cillian. It was Middlesbrough, Cillian. It's always wet in Middlesbrough on a Friday night. I don't know. It could be any Friday night now.
But there's nothing worse, I think, than travelling that length of distance and just not showing up and getting hammered.
No.
I remember it well. I think it was the last knock into the David Wagner era, wasn't it? And he came out actually this week and said that I can't remember what exact game it was, Cillian, but it was sort of halfway through the season. He said, this isn't for me anymore of that season, which is an incredible comment, wasn't it? When you think about, actually, he still had half a season to play. Was that the season we made the playoffs as well? Maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, he just didn't fancy it. But anyway, that aside, I think you're right, Nick. I think we have been on the end of some absolute hidings. I remember the game that Cillian was talking about. I was watching at a pub in Hitchin, and it was just like everyone knew I was an Norwich fan, and it's like, I'm surrounded by other fans of other clubs and stuff. But no, I think there have been some, and we go back even further, and there was a game at Carrow Road. I remember sort of early 2000s where it was Premier League, and it was when you had Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Yeah,
and it was 4-4. It was a phenomenal match. So I've always looked at Middlesbrough and thought, great club, really entertaining, and you obviously live and breathe them, so you might not think the same, but I think there's always been some really good games between us.
Well, let's just take last season at your place. That one game was the absolute microcosm of Boro's season. So for 60 minutes. I guarantee we were the best team you've seen at Carrow Road for 60 minutes last season. We were sensational, nothing short of sensational. Penalty goes in for 4-1, it's game over. And then for 30 minutes, we were terrible and hanging on, and you deserved the draw in the end, because actually you nearly won it, didn't you, as well? And we nearly won it in the 94th minute as well. So one of those games, I drove home from there last season with my son in silence till we got at least to about Newark, because we didn't know what we just witnessed. Like, what the hell was that? And that's how we were. But we gave up 26 points from winning positions last season. And if Rob Edwards stops doing that, I'll be a happy man.
Well, you still didn't beat us on that record, because I think we had the worst record last season for giving up from winning points. I think it was 29 or 30 or something. So
could be 10 all on Saturday then, boys.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's probably quite a nice time to move on to the next question. So you mentioned Rob Edwards. What sort of style do you think he's going to bring this season? And do you think it's going to be any different to perhaps previous Middlesbrough managers?
Well, I think if you're a game-going fan like I am, you'll notice already that it's already different. So the pace is quicker, the transition's faster, and the desire to get the ball back is a lot more. It's a lot hungrier, if that would be the right word to use. Carrick was all about the pass, keep possession, play out from the back, all that kind of thing. And, we've been a lot more direct already in the games that we've played in the league, certainly in pre-season. You could see that try to be a work in progress. Millwall, second half, we were passing them, but we were passing in their half. So we were pressing them on the back foot, and we are much, much quicker. The players look a yard quicker. The desire to win the ball back's a lot easier and a lot easier to watch. And we haven't really conceded many chances. We seem to play these two league games so far 10, 15 yards further up the pitch than we ever did under Carrick. Under Carrick, we let lots of goals in through playing in front of our own 18-yard box, giving the ball away, getting caught in possession, and suddenly it's a bang back of the net kind of thing. But we invited mistakes. We haven't invited any mistakes so far this season. We've been solid as a rock, and our keeper, Sol Bryn, I can only remember him making maybe one routine save in 180 minutes of football. So we're solid, we're quicker, we look a bit more pacey, and there's a bit more desire to play further up the pitch. So, which is good to see. It's a bit more direct, don't get me wrong. There's no tippy-tappy stuff. It's pretty much get it down the wings, get it in the box, get it through to the danger area, as it were, but keep it away from our box as well. He's used that phrase before, keep it away from our box. I mean, you can't score if you're not near our box unless you got balls aside from 70 yards like you scored a few last season, didn't he, from some distance. But I like it so far. It's a bit direct, but I do like it, and it's proving early days, but it's proven to be working.
I think as well, Nick, is how has he recruited? Did he have the opportunity to recruit? Because he came in quite late towards the end of the season, didn't he? To start the season, should I say?
Edwards are, I think, we were slow out the blocks, but I think when you look at what we've done, we're starting to make some inroads. I'll come on to who to look out for, shortly. I think we're going to cover that. But if you look at it in terms of one tactical thing I would say about that I forgot to mention is his in-game management much better than we've seen before. Carrick used to do like-for-like subs, 75 minutes, irrespective of what was happening. And we'd be 1 down, 2 down, then he'd make his like-for-like sub. On Saturday at Millwall, he changed it. Rob Edwards changed it at half-time, tweaked it, changed it, and it made a massive difference. We were 0-0 at half-time. We weren't hanging on. It was a fairly even first half. Second half, we played him off the park and 3-0, and it didn't flatter us because he tweaked it at half-time. And we've never seen that for a long time. I like that tactical awareness.
Lovely. Can I ask? I've just got a text in here, and it looks like it came in from Mr. Liam Manning. He's asking which Boro players do you think would actually give Norwich a few sleepless nights this season? And are there any new signings that might surprise us?
Well, I'll cover the new signings in a minute. Not sure about sleepless nights, because I think sleepless nights are unlikely. We are Middlesbrough after all. You're not playing bloody prime Real Madrid or PSG last season, are you? But he's the one. If he's on it on Saturday, Finn Azaz is unbelievable at this level. If he's on it, and I say if he's on it, he came on sub on Saturday at Millwall. He was sublime second half, but he hasn't had a pre-season, so he won't play the full 90. Will he start? Will he come on? I don't know. But his passing, his vision, the pass for the third goal was like a little sand wedge straight over the back of the defender, straight through. Beautiful to watch. And if Azaz, he got double figures for goals and assists last season, his real quality on his day. He did go missing in a few games last season, but on his streak, he was unplayable for weeks on end. So he might give you sleepless nights if he starts and if he's coming back to fitness. I'd also say watch out if he's still here on Saturday. Hayden Hackney and Aidan Morris is a midfield pair. They are as good a midfield pair, I think, as in the league at any time. They can run the show against anyone. And they've both been in great form so far. Hayden Hackney just looks like he's come back from the England under-21 scene. as a man. He maybe went as a boy and came back as a man, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He looks different gravy, but obviously a lot of people are interested in him. We've turned down a bid we accepted a bid from those down the road who shall remain nameless on your podcast. But he turned them down. I don't think he wants to go to another championship club. But I do fear that. I fear at the end of the window, if a Premier League club who aren't going to be in trouble come knocking, like a Palace or an Everton, who are unlikely to go down, I think we might lose him at short notice. I'd hate to see that. So, but we've got a couple of new signings. We've got a new guy called, I think you pronounce it Sonye. I don't want to call him Sonia. Sonye Hansen, who we got. He came on Saturday, and he looks tricky. He looks quick. He was directly, we've got 4 minutes of being on the pitch, and he created our first goal. He's quick. He's direct. When he had Alfie Doughty taken off about 6 minutes after he came on, he had Alfie Doughty in a washing machine. Alfie Doughty didn't have a clue where he was. So Sonia Hansen looks good, and we've just signed a wonder kid on loan today from Man City. Sverre Naipan, they call him. He's 18. He looks about 12. But he's had over 70 top flight games for Rosenborg in Scandinavia, and every single top club in Europe was after him in the summer. City got him, and we've got him on loan for a season. I don't know if he's going to play on Saturday. If he does, he's got some show reel, him, I'll tell you now. It looks a brilliant, brilliant find.
That's good.
Well, I'm a big fan of Finn Azaz, but only in half his matches, the ones he plays for Ireland.
He does okay for Ireland as well, doesn't he? He seems to play okay for them.
He does.
Where is he from? Was he in Middlesbrough's academy, or did you buy him from somewhere else?
No, he was in Villa's academy, and then he went from Villa. I think he went from Villa to Plymouth. We got him when he went to Plymouth on loan for half a season. Then we bought him from Villa. He's been with us now. This will be his second full season. He doesn't look like a footballer. He's a skinny little guy, and he looks like he's a bit weak and whatever. But God, his vision's fantastic, and his touch is great. I wouldn't want him next to me in a fight. Don't get me wrong, but he's a cultured footballer, and at this level, he can unlock. He plays at 10 and drifts around, so just behind the sort of centre forward, and he can unlock a defence with a pass and a bit of vision. And he's got an eye for goal. He got I think he got 12 goals last season, including a couple of belters, really. So yeah, he's my one to watch, really. But if the young wonder kid comes on, or Sonja Hansen comes on, you'll have to put up with a bit of pace. So I don't know who your back line are, whether they're quick enough or not. I don't know who plays at the back for you guys.
Well, I mean, Cillian, you were there on Saturday. Perhaps talk to us a little bit about our current back line that we have.
So, I mean, Liam Manning seems to favour 3 at the back. So we had Jako Medic, who's a recent signing for us, on the right. In the middle, we have Harry Darling, who has really proved to be probably one of the best signings we've had this summer. Yeah, on a free from Swansea. And then we have Jose Cordoba on the left of the 3. And then 2 wing backs. So Jack Stacey started. And on the left, it was Papa Diallo, who's looks like a bit of a sensational signing, also very pacey.
So no Ben Gibson then. Oh, I'm ashamed. I thought we might. I thought we might have had him on his back by the end of that one, but never mind. No, I know he's moved on. Don't he? You think he plays at Stoke? Does he still at Stoke? Yeah. Okay.
It's Stoke. I mean, I'm sorry, Cillian, carry on.
He was the Stoke captain last season, so I'm not sure if he's still is or not. Yeah.
Fair play. I think on that note, before we move on to our final question, what I quite like to do, Nick, is go through some of the players that have played for both Middlesbrough and Norwich. And I've got a list here. It's this website here. I don't know if that's my screen's a bit blurred, isn't it?
All right. Okay.
It's called Flown from the Nest. So any Norwich fan or Middlesbrough fan that wants to log in, it's amazing.
I know where you're going to start. You must be starting with Captain Fantastic. You must be starting with Captain Fantastic. If you don't start with Johnny Howson, I'm coming off the podcast. You've got to start with Johnny Howson.
Well, I was going to go with James Husband first, but yeah, now you say Johnny. No, now you say, Johnny Howson. What a player! I mean, he's been with you for 8-9 years now.
Yeah. He's gone to Leeds now. He's the Leeds Academy coach now. It was probably time, but I would say if Carrick had stayed, Johnny Howson would have got another year's contract. But he's not. He's obviously not Rob Edwards' man, and you can't build a team around a 37-year-old. But he was last season when he was called upon, and he was called upon regularly through a load of injuries and crisis. He played everywhere. He played right back. He played right wing back. He played centre half. He's a brilliant centre half, by the way, and he's only about 5'7", well, probably a bit taller, 5'10" maybe, but his reading of the game was sensational,
phenomenal.
And he was beat. I mean, Boro fans love him and still will always love him. I mean, I don't love him now. He's gone to Leeds, obviously, but you can't do that, can you? But he's a Leeds lad anyway, through and through. But yeah, Johnny Howson, and he was great for you, wasn't he? He was fantastic for you when he played phenomenal. For you.
Great player. He was. I think his Cillian, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think his reputation was tarnished a little bit with what happened with Boro signs. But I think it was just one of them, wasn't it? I mean, for me, it's you've got such a talented player there who contributed so well for Norwich, and I just think for one instant, a lot of Norwich fans went, "Ah, no, see you later." But I'm like, Johnny Howson.
I think though, people forget very quickly the service people give to the club, and Johnny was definitely one of them. It was phenomenal, of course, and I mean, it was a bit naughty what happened with Boro, but no.
Can I just say, if you're looking at two people of certain character, you've got Johnny Howson on one side, and with all due respect, Borges Sainz on the other. I know whose character I'd like to have in my corner, because Borges Sainz has got history for doing other stuff, let's put it that way. So yes, there was an incident at the Riverside. Yes, Johnny Howson made an absolute meal of it, but as a character, I know who I'd have in the team all day long. Now, that's not being disrespectful to you as hosts. Borges Sainz was fantastic, but as a character, as a person, I wouldn't swap Johnny Howson for him.
I completely agree. I think, Sainz was a phenomenal footballer, and he had a really, he had a purple patch with us last season. He was brilliant for 2 or 3 months, but for the rest of the season, I mean, I think he finished. If he wasn't level championship goal scorer, he finished championship top goal scorer.
Second, I think.
Yeah,
there was he second. Okay, so I knew he was close to finishing that, but the majority of his goals were in that 2 or 3 month period, and he got sent off against West Brom. Was it either Boxing Day or New Year's Day the previous year? He got sent off against Boro. Yes, under those circumstances, he spat at Chris Mepham at Sunderland and got a 6-game ban. And it's like. He's I don't. To be honest with you, I wish him good luck. I hope he goes on and has a fantastic career. Mainly because if he goes and plays well, it's a team he's gone to, Porto, isn't it?
Yeah.
Porto. If he goes on and does well there, he's going to be worth 60-70 million. So we'll get a little bit of that back. Thank you very much.
That's right. Great footballer.
He's brilliant. But you're right. In terms of character, Johnny Howson all day long. I think some of the other ones, Danny Ayala, who we mentioned earlier, was with us. We signed him from Liverpool.
God, I completely forgot that. Yeah,
this is why I like the segment. This is why I like the segment.
I thought we got Ayala from Liverpool ourselves, so we got him from you, did we?
Yes, I believe you did. He went. Well, was he alone? We definitely brought him, didn't we, Cillian? I'm sure he wasn't on loan with us, was he?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I'm pretty sure we brought him, but I might be wrong.
Could you answer me a question on Danny Ayala at Norwich then? Did he play a pre-season ever? Never did for us. And B, did he ever play when the weather got bad? Because he never played for us either when the weather got bad. He was a pre.
The weather never gets bad in Norwich, though.
No. Pre-season, Danny Ayala always had a back straight, a leg, something you couldn't prove, right? He always had something. And then first game of the season, he'd miraculously be available, but he was a Rolls Royce, but a Rolls Royce with a slightly dodgy engine sometimes. He used to put his hands up like that all the time and just say, I didn't touch him. He was a penalty waiting to happen, but he was when we had him and Ben Gibson together, he was an absolute Rolls Royce at the time. So we had a great central defensive pairing. I forgot he played for you though.
We had him in the Premier League. I think he was a little bit. I'm not obviously saying it's a step up, but you know what I mean. It was can't really judge him because I don't think he really played for us much in the in the Championship. We obviously had Patrick Bamford on loan for a little bit.
Yeah, okay. He's a tarnished man. We loved Bamford. 19 goals in one season, unplayable. I still think he's a really classy footballer. He's got a great pair of feet. Unfortunately, mostly those feet are injured. But he went to Leeds, and he's done a few things when he's played for Leeds against Boro that he's absolutely let himself down. And there's rumours that he's been touted around as available, and does Boro want him? I wouldn't have him back. You can't forgive someone who goes to a rival like Leeds and kisses the badge and does things in front of the fans when he scored. Not much. What a footballer in his heyday, though, and what a finisher. Classy finisher. He was brilliant for Leeds in the Premier League that first season, wasn't he? When he went up with them, he scored like 12, 14 goals, including some classics. So, great footballer on his day.
100%. I didn't realise this, but obviously we talked about Ben Gibson already, but Onel Hernandez was on loan with you.
Well, I do. I remember he played about 4 games, but I think he might have played under Pulis. Or if he didn't play under Pulis, he might have played under Wilder. But if he played under Pulis, he won't. I mean, he wasn't 6'4", built like a tank, was he? He wouldn't have got a game for Pulis under those circumstances. So he'd have been classed. It'd have been classed as a luxury player. He was always injured when he played for us. He never got a run of games. He had flashes of genius, but he never got. We never saw the best of him at all. I think he was just stop start, in and out. So, but whenever he's played against us for you, I was always a bit nervous because he had a goal in him, didn't he?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, we talked about Jerome. He was great. It says he was with you as a youngster. He was, wasn't he, earlier on in the career? I seem to remember him being at Boro. But
Cameron Jerome?
Yeah, it says Cameron Jerome's Norwich's August 2014 signing was at Boro as a youngster.
Might have been in the under-21s. I don't think he's played a first team game for us. I cannot recall him ever played a first team game for us.
I seem to remember buying him. Sorry, Cillian.
Might have been under 12s, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Leroy Lita.
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, again, at the time, when you played at that level, like we were for a long time, Leroy Lita seemed like a great signing, didn't he? But he just never. He had pace. He was like Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank that you bought from Timu, wasn't he? He was kind of like a really poor man's striker. He just never did it for us either. Again, solid enough for the likes of Reading and teams like that. But did he play okay for you? He didn't really do much for us.
He was good, yeah. I mean, he scored some really good goals. I mean, he was with us at a time where I think he came to us the season we got relegated to League One. But then he had a really massive part to play in our Championship promotion to the Premier League under Lambert. And it was the game before, and it was you guys against Cardiff, I think. And he scored a hat-trick. And I don't know if it was for you or Cardiff, because he might have played for either. But that result then meant that had we beat Portsmouth that night, we would then get promoted to the Premier League, which we did go on and do that. So he sort of goes down in sort of Norwich folklore, but perhaps not for playing for the club. It was something that happened in another game. So.
That's all right. You take that all day long.
Keith O'Neill.
Sorry? Keith
O'Neill, Irishman. You signed in. He was very injury prone. Obviously, Cillian will know Keith because he's a proud Irishman. But he signed for you in 1999 for £700,000, which is probably quite a lot back then.
It probably was. I had a bit of a gap in my active watching when my kids were born, 97 and 2000. There was a gap there where, in terms of parental responsibilities and all that kind of thing. Yes. I actually missed some of the glory years at the Boro with Juninho and his pomp and all that kind of thing, because I had kids and whatever. But hey, you know what? I've been going since '73. So my first season, we won the old Division 2 by a record points number. And I thought, is this football's easy, isn't it? And I didn't realise that's the high point I'd ever see as a Boro fan, but never mind. That was 73, but never mind.
Do you know what? I absolutely love those, the Janine, because that's when I first, maybe a couple of years after I first started sort of getting into football and, my early sort of formative years, you had like Janino, Emerson, You had the guy up front, didn't you,
Ravanelli.
Yeah. And then they talk about Timo, who is the Italian version of Timo, probably when he got Macaroni, because he weren't great, was he? Massimo Macaroni, I think his name.
We will have absolutely nothing said against Macaroni. He scored two of the most important goals in Boro's history in the UEFA Cup quarter-final and semi-final. Last-minute winners at home to take us through. He should have a statue outside. He's got like a frieze outside written about him and all that kind of thing, because honestly, the commentary of those games is legendary. The guy who was our sort of radio match commentator, Alistair Brownlee, who's sadly no longer with us, he was famous for his rhetoric and things. And on the if you go to the Boro next time, Cillian, just outside on the wall, there's a big sort of a quote from Alistair Brownlee: "Macaroni's the man." Or he says, "All round my house for a Parmo," when the goal went in. That's his famous. "You can all come round my house for a Parmo." Alistair Brownlee said, "We'll have nothing said against Massimo Macaroni, I'm afraid." Yes, sorry, mate.
That's fine. And you see, this is why I do this sort of podcast, so I learn something. So I appreciate that. Obviously, you got one or two others before we move on to the last question. So obviously, Andy Townsend and Patrick Roberts. I think
I'll be honest with you, Andy Townsend played for everyone, hasn't he? A good pro, a really good pro, and actually, I quite like him as a broadcaster. He's pretty good as a broadcaster. He's less boring than some of them, isn't he? On there, so he's a good old pro. Played for us. All I'd say about Andy Townsend, and he played for everyone in the same way. Just a solid pro. Nothing startling, nothing spectacular, but a solid pro and a good guy. And happy with that. And who's the other one you said? Patrick Roberts.
Patrick Roberts, yeah. I mean, he's only with us for a season because he was online.
We had him for a season, and he flattered to deceive. He was okay. He had flashes of brilliance, and you could see that there's a player in him. He chose us over Celtic, which was a bit weird. You think you play for Celtic and play, Champions League qualifiers and then get knocked out. But he seemed to quite enjoy playing for Middlesbrough. But he's gone on to do some great things. Sunderland loved him, didn't they, last season? He was and the season before. So there's like you say, you mentioned about I like Boro. I'm the same with Norwich. We're a family club. You don't see many other scarves of other clubs in Middlesbrough. You don't see many other scarves of other clubs in the Norwich area, do you? And I think that's really important. Really? Yeah. You don't see your tourists. You don't see apart from Cillian tourists from Ireland, but you don't see any. You don't see your Liverpools, your Cities. You don't see all them. And same with Boro. It's a local club for local. I sound like Royce and Vasey. It's a local club. It's a local club for local people, and the same with you guys. And I think there's a lot of mutual respect there. Forgetting the 15 final, we'll just ignore that and gloss over that. But I'm looking forward to Saturday. We always get a good welcome when we come down as well. So never any hint of anything other than just a nice welcome. Yeah,
absolutely. So sort of just finally, then, where do you see us? I say finally, Cillian is stepping in. So ordinarily, our other host Morgan, who sadly couldn't be with us this evening, he usually does a random question of the week. So it's going to be Cillian's conundrum tonight. Just come up with that. That was just in there, Cillian. I was trying to think of it, and it's so Cillian's conundrum. Get ready for that. Think of a little theme tune you can sing, Cillian. Morgan does sing. Anyway, so where do you see Middlesbrough finishing, and where do you see Norwich finishing, Nick?
I wouldn't be surprised if we finish next to each other. That's the first thing. I think before a ball was kicked and we had a really thin squad, I was thinking we might struggle to be anywhere, even the playoff conversation we'd struggle, and I thought 10th to 14th maybe. But I've not seen anyone else so far in 2 games, albeit, who looks and go, wow, there's no Leeds or Burnley a few years ago or Wolves in their prime I've not seen anyone thought, wow, they're going to be miles ahead of anybody else. I mean, a few of the fans for other clubs are saying they're going to be winning the league and smashing the league and all that, but that's just, idiotic at this stage. We get a couple more in, I think we might be in the playoff conversation, and we might, and I'd take that. And I think with your new manager, new coach, you definitely expect to be in the playoff conversation, I would suspect, because that's you always do and we always do. I've been more realistic at the start of the season, but a win away at Millwall and suddenly we're gonna go up automatically. We're not going to go up automatically. I would take 6th now, and I do think that we will potentially quietly, be in that sort of 6th to 9th area come March. Anything can happen, and I think you might be just slightly ahead of us. You might be in the 4th, 5th, 6th spot, really. I think you've probably got a little bit more about you at the moment. It's about consistency in this league, doesn't it? It really is about grinding out them games and getting over the defeats, because if you get a defeat in midweek, you play again on the Saturday, you've got to get past them, haven't you? And we've not been good at that in the last few seasons. If we've got a bit of resilience about us now, you never know. But I think we might just fall short, and you might be just in the playoff mix. But I'd be delighted to be slightly under optimistic on that one.
Excellent. What do you reckon, Cillian?
Yeah, I align and agree on that one. I think we're going to be very close to each other. The last 2 matches, the Portsmouth match and Watford, even though we weren't great in the second half, we would have absolutely been beaten last season in both those games, and we held on. So I think there's a bit of grittiness creeping in there.
Yeah.
We 2 away wins. We only had 4 in the entire season last week. We had 2 in the 1 week. So, again, it's early days. You can suddenly go on a great run either way, up or down, very quickly in this league. So, but I think it will be an exciting season for both teams.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree.
Can I just remind you of a run? We played you Farker's first full season. He'd had half a season before. When we played you at your place, if you'd have lost to us, that might have been 2020, 2019, probably before COVID. And if we'd have beaten you that day, Farker would have been sacked, I guarantee, because you were about 15th at the time. You beat us 1-0 with a scruffy goal. It wasn't much of a match. 1-0. And on the train back, we were saying, well, both of us are going to be, struggling for mid-table mediocrity. I think you went on a winning streak from that game, and I think you won something like 12 of the next 14, and suddenly you topped the league, and you won the league quite comfortably in the end. So, like you say, Kelly, it's putting a run together, isn't it? You never know where it's going to come from. No,
exactly. It hops up and surprises.
Funny enough, I watched that game in Germany when I was on one of the Dortmund trips, bringing it around quite nicely. So, yeah, it was when we had that green, the sort of the lime fluorescent green kit, it was Hernandez that snuck it into the near post. I remember that game really clearly. So, right, okay, it's time for Cillian's conundrum. I'm going to pass you over to the main man. Good luck, Nick.
Cillian's conundrum.
I guess he sung it as well.
All right, so one of the things I really relish about going to Middlesbrough is the Parmos. You've already mentioned them, Nick. Both of you are travelled men. So what other dish associated with a place would you recommend for fans to go to and try?
Okay.
It can be anything.
Well,
it can't be the Middlesbrough Parmo. It has to be something.
No. What I would say to you is, going back to the Dortmund scenario, is getting yourself a currywurst off a stand in the beer village outside Signal Iduna Park. You get a beer in one hand, a currywurst in the other. It's not expensive. They actively encourage you to drink at football in Germany, which is always a good thing for a bit of relaxation. But a good currywurst in Dortmund, fantastic. That's what I would associate with really good football. And when we go to Millwall, funnily enough, sounds a bit posh, Boro Market, venison burger. Job done.
Nice.
That's definitely, Boro Market's great. Next time I must look out for one of those venison burgers. What about you, Jez?
I mean, it's not football related. Well, I've got two actually. So one would be there's a really nice restaurant, because I go to Malta relatively frequently with work. And if you are ever in Malta, go to, I think they've got 2 outlets, but if you go to a place called Smart City, which is just south of Valletta, there's a restaurant called Rosso Pomodoro, if my Italian's correct. And they do a fantastic pistachio pasta. It's the best pasta I've ever eaten in my life. and they've got like prawns and various other seafood in it as well. It's really nice. So that sort of came into my head straight away. But I think sort of football related, again, it's going to be Germany. And I think you stole my thunder a little bit, Nick, with the currywurst. It's the food they do out there, you know, and as you say, it's reasonably priced. Was it like maybe €2 or €3 or something like that? It's so reasonably priced. And, you know, you can have a beer in front of the ground as well. You know, whilst you're watching the game, it's such a great atmosphere. And what's the word I'm looking for? Like, tradition out there, I guess, but I quite like the pork knuckle that they do out there with the sour cabbage. It's phenomenal. So yeah, that would be my suggestion.
I've got an Irish story for you, Cillian, about Dortmund last year. We were sat along there's about 1,000 non-German fans go to Dortmund games, every home game, and we were sat along from 4 Irish guys in the same row as us. They came up before the game. They had 6 pints each in a little 6-pint carrier box, each of them 6 pints. They drank them before half time, went down and got another 6, thinking that's some going. I'm nowhere near that. And my son and my mate Dom, we're nowhere near that, but we hats off to them. You know, it's almost that actively encouraged over there, isn't it, really?
That was their starter. In terms of my suggestions, one thing we talked about Ryanair earlier. I'm glad Ryanair doesn't fly to Chicago, because I think a Chicago deep dish pizza is definitely worth it. But would definitely be charged extra by Ryanair coming back for extra weight. Another related one was actually recent. So last Saturday, I had one of the famous foot-long sausage rolls in Fratton Park, and my God, nice. The guy, I asked for a sausage roll, and the guy said, I haven't got any. And I said, well, what's that? He said, what's the long one? I said, yeah, I'll have one of the long ones. So myself and Nick split it and shared it between us. This is Nick Lyle. But it was absolutely delicious. So highly recommended when you get to Fratton Park, try one of their foot-long hot dogs or sausage roll.
I've just booked for Fratton on the 4th of October, so that was definitely on my to-do list now. A foot-long sausage roll, excellent.
No, amazing. I think this is really good time to sort of end it then, gents. So thank you, Nick. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
And you.
Little prediction for Saturday, scoreline wise.
2-2.
Cillian?
I'm going 2-0 Norwich.
Oh. I think it'll be a draw. I'm going to go. I think it'll be 1-0. I don't think it's going to be a Desmond, but I think it'll be 1-0. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Cillian, thank you for stepping in last minute as well. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Likewise.
Lovely to meet you guys. Thank you. Lovely to meet you guys. Thank you very much.
Just before you go, Nick, it's no, thank you. Me and Cillian have been celebrating a week because 2 of our younger members of our team have pulled out a blinder on TikTok. Izzy, who looks after our women's section, so she goes and watches all of the Norwich City women's games. She videoed a goal, and the girl struck the ball. It's hit the crossbar, bounced down, and we've said it's a goal because it's Norwich, but it clearly hasn't crossed the line, and it's actually been viewed nearly 900,000 times on TikTok.
Wow.
900,000. It's unbelievable. So yeah, we've been celebrating that all week. So I mean, well done to both Izzy and Ollie for, firstly Izzy for capturing it and Ollie for posting it on TikTok. It's phenomenal.
And well done for you, Jez, for watching it 895,000 times.
Just on repeat, 100%.
Excellent.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, gents. Just for everyone else watching, you can like and subscribe on YouTube for more great content, and we are available on all other podcast channels. Please do follow us on social media as well, Facebook, Instagram and X. I've been Jez Davies.
I've been Cillian O'Grady, the Flying Canary.
And I've been Nick from the Half and Half Scarf Football Podcast.
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye. That's all for this episode of Beyond the Barclay. Thanks for listening and supporting the podcast. If you enjoyed it, be sure to follow, leave a review and share it with fellow Norwich City fans.
We'll be back soon with more insight and discussion from around Carrow Road. Until then, on the Ball City.